Hey everybody, Lydia Fiedler here as a guest of Picket Studios to show off the new Thinking of You stamp set designed by the members of the Stamping Village. $5 from this sale of every one of these stamp sets sold will benefit the Save the Children Foundation. This is the picket fence image with this coffee, and the entire set is designed to be a set of encouragement during these uncertain times, and also to help appreciate the people on the front lines in healthcare, etc. So you can see some of these images are very specific to that, but it's a great all-year set as well. I'll be using the Picket Fence Studios images, which are all these cute little coffee and tea and sort of cold coffee beverage type images. I love small images that I can use with the Gina K Designs Wreath Builder. Now I have the new and improved Wreath Builder here, and it really is amazing. It lets you be even more accurate when you're lining up your stamps, and I'll show you how it works. So the circles that are on the new guide make it foolproof for showing you the largest and smallest wreaths that you can make by using the Wreath Builder. So as long as you position your images anywhere inside that largest circle, you're going to be able to create a repeating pattern with these cute little coffee cups, which is what I will be doing. But not if you have a stamp stuck on the side of your MISTI. So you can remove the guide after you've aligned your stamp and just put your cardstock into the Wreath Builder. I'm using Picket Fence Studios Black Hybrid ink pad. It is intense black. And I will be inking up this cute little classic coffee or tea cup. For me, it's coffee. I love tea, but I have been on a little bit of a coffee kick lately. So to me, it looks like a coffee cup. Now I'm using my Hero Arts MISTI here, and because I'm using the MISTI and the cardstock is always perfectly placed in the Wreath Builder, I have the ability to stamp the image multiple times if I need to. And I almost always choose to do that because if you can, why not? Then you can get a perfectly inked image. Now you'll continue to rotate the Wreath Builder until you have created your little circle of happy coffee cups. And you first put it in whatever the opposite orientation was. So if you had it in the square orientation, then you move to the diamond orientation and so on. You can go clockwise or counterclockwise. It really doesn't make a difference. This is such an ingenious tool. I do like to tape mine onto the foam of my MISTI just to make sure that it stays secure, and I use my magnet in the corner. Now I will remove this stamp, and I'm going to add a second image from this stamp set to fill in between the coffee cup images. I'll actually end up using 3 images to create this card, as well as a sentiment. Now this adorable little carafe is the perfect size to fit in between the 2 coffee cups. And again, the only thing that you need to pay attention to is the outside circle. And I'm going to show you, it doesn't matter if you have your cardstock in the diamond orientation or the square orientation. The circular guide on the Wreath Builder is still going to be in the same place. So it's going to show you the maximum amount of room that you have going around the wreath. So I will just position this little guy in between. You can even test stamp onto the template if you want, and then just wipe the ink off if you want to see sort of how it looks on your design. But I have it where I want it, so I can remove the guide and begin the second round of stamping with this adorable little coffee carafe. It's sort of a retro image to me. It looks like the carafes that they bring you at restaurants and diners, so it's kind of a nostalgic image for me. I think it's so cute. I wonder why I've never had one of those little carafes at home, because I do like them, and they keep your coffee hot forever. So I will go around and fill these in until I am finished. This always goes so fast. And what's great about this stamp set is there's so many small fill-in images in this set, little florals, hearts, all sorts of things that you could use to build your wreath with. And it's very easy to tell when you're done building your wreath. So now I can just do some very quick coloring, and I'm going to show you a technique that is a very simple coloring technique, but it coordinates your Copic coloring with any other stamped images that you might have. So I will use the first ink combo that I fell in love with when I started stamping, which is a lime green with a hot pink. That has always been one of my favorite combos. And what I'm going to do is use an accent color on both of these images to tie them in with the third image that I'll be stamping, which will be stamped in yellow. I wanted this to have a bright, cheery look, so I chose brighter colors for this. So now that that's finished, and that's very simple, really takes no coloring skill at all I'm doing is adding a little yellow highlight. And what's great about alcohol markers is when you use a lighter color on top of a darker color, as I'm doing here, it both blends and creates a highlight. And this will tie all of my images together. Now this fun hot pink is one of my favorites. I love this color. And each little coffee cup will be colored hot pink. But I will take that yellow marker and I will do exactly the same thing. Again, tying all of my images together with the third stamped image, which is going to be stamped in yellow. So this is the tiny heart from the stamp set, and I'm going to set it up just to the right of one of the coffee cups. And this will be an accent that will go all the way around this wreath. I'm using Gina K Designs Wild Dandelion ink, which matches my marker. I like to do little tests just to make sure that the marker and the ink match. I also use a swatch chart to compare what my Copic markers look like with the color of ink that I'm using before I start stamping. That way you don't waste any paper. But this little heart is the perfect finishing touch, because what I am making today is a coffee gift card holder for a friend of mine who is a nurse. I have 2 nurses in my family and lots of friends who work in the medical profession. And I can't think of anybody who needs a coffee gift card more than our essential medical peeps. So here's what it looks like stamped, and I added a sentiment from the stamp set that perfectly fits inside this wreath, and part of the letter even goes in between the coffee cup and the coffee carafe. So now I'm creating a little folded pocket for the gift card, and this is just craft cardstock, just slightly larger than the 3.75 by 3.75 inch square that I used. There are 2 different sizes with the wreath builder. I use the smaller of the 2. And I have this fantastic Give Me a Break background stamp from Picket Studios that's all coffee beans. And I do a little trick where I put tape on the back of what I'm stamping, and then I tape the front of that down to my grid paper. And this is a trick I use when I'm using large background stamps where I want to do off-edge stamping, because that way I'm not allowing the paper to move even though it's in the center of my MISTI and not anchored by a corner. So I'll just take the tape that I used on the wreath builder and put that over the upside down tape that I have holding the back of the card onto the grid paper. And then I do need to cover up any sticky part of the tape that's showing, just so that it doesn't pull my card up when the stamp touches that sticky tape. So this is just 3M Post-it tape that I'm covering this with. And then you just want to make sure it's secured in the corner. That will be your alignment guide every time. You'll know that it's back in the same place if you put it in the corner. And this way I can put the background stamp so that it's hanging off all 4 edges. And because it's taped to the grid paper, I can just grab it when it gets pulled up on that first pickup with the lid. And I'm using some Gina K ink in the same color. I'm just doing tone on tone stamping here. And I'll stamp that several times. Sometimes if you're not paying attention, when you put down a big clear background stamp, you might get a little air bubble under it. So if you see a place where it's not stamping, just let that air out. Make sure it's flat against the lid of your MISTI. And then just stamp it a couple of times to get it perfect. Now I stamped both sides of this little pocket so that you would see the coffee beans behind my main panel and also on the back, just to keep with my theme. And I'm using some double-sided tape, and this is meant to be a stamping block, but I use it to tear tape off in a perfectly straight edge. I love this little tool. I use it for washi tape on my envelopes too. Very handy. You could also use just an acrylic block or a ruler. But I like my tape edges straight. So I'm pulling off the liner paper, and then I will just seal 2 sides of this little pocket. Of course, we want the top open so that we can slip the Starbucks card in. And I have a little piece of lime green ribbon and a few glue dots just to make sure I have a way to pull the gift card up out of the gift card holder. So I'll get the ends of the ribbon fairly even. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then put a little glue down where that ribbon is going to be on both sides of the card. So I'll stick one end down. Make sure you get it straight. This is very hard for me. It's not a skill that I have, really. That's why I have all these tools to help me do things straight. And then just secure the ribbon to the glue dot. This is a very simple gift card holder design. Nothing fancy. Just a cute little package to deliver the gift card in. Now, I thought that I put a glue dot on the back, but I didn't. There's no glue dot there. Where did it go? I left it on the little liner sheet. I didn't pick it up when I picked up the top part of that. So I'll put that glue dot down in the center, attach the back of the ribbon, and now it'll be able to come out easily out of that little pocket. So I'll put that down in there, and then I will do the most difficult thing ever to do on a video, which is try to tie something while people are watching you. It's like there's a force in the universe that doesn't want us to watch other people tie things. So enjoy my struggle with this little piece of May Arts twine that I'm using to secure the ribbons at the top. It just looks cuter if it has a little bow than if just those 2 pieces of ribbon are sticking out the top. But you could also tie you could leave the ribbon a little bit longer, but you could also tie the ribbon itself in a little bow at the top. I just thought this was cute to have the twine, even if I am having a hard time tying it. So there it is. I'll just even up the bow just a tiny bit. Trim off the ends. My beloved fabric scissors. And then there you have the base package. So now I will just glue the little coffee wreath onto the front with some liquid glue. I like liquid glue because it is forgiving, and I tend not to put things down straight the first time. So it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. You'll actually see me adjusting it a little bit here, just a little more forgiving than adhesives that secure immediately. So once that's in place, I will pet that down, and you can see how all the images are tied together with that little yellow shading on the smaller images in the wreath. Again, $5 from the sale of every Thinking of You stamp set will benefit the Save the Children organization. We appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for watching.